Hi, I'm Sandra Wilson. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist who works with adults and children with misophonia and extreme sound sensitivity. So in today's video, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what you can do when you cannot escape the noise. And many people with misophonia do find very creative ways to avoid having to hear the sounds that trigger them. And they often structure their whole lives to ensure that they are not exposed to the trigger. But what happens when you are in a situation and you just cannot escape? You have no choice. You may be in your apartment with neighbours either upstairs or downstairs and they are making a noise and you can't get away from it. You may be in an office or some type of learning environment that you have no choice. You have to just put up with whatever noise is there. And the stress involved in having to try to control your external environment can be immense. So is there anything at all that you can do if you are simply stuck with the noise and you cannot do anything about it? Because, and this is a biggie, a large part of the extreme reaction your nervous system has as a result of hearing those sounds is really just about control anyway. Because if you can walk away, then there's no problem, you can't hear it. So when you feel your trigger emotion, and you will know what that is, maybe it's rage or extreme anxiety, you may feel it physically, you may have a horrible, overwhelming sense of disgust. Remember that it's not your fault, first and foremost, and remember that your mind and body, your nervous system, is preparing for fight or flight. Okay, it's an ancient survival response that's designed to help you to defend yourself or escape from danger very, very quickly. So you lose your sense of logic, you lose your sense of being able to think clearly with the left, with the prefrontal cortex, which is all about logic and I guess being able to see things through a lens of positivity. So when you cannot fight or run away, what can you do? What can you do that is already available to you or within you when there is no other choice? Okay, now this may sound, and I really don't want to, oversimplify it, but the most obvious starting point is to draw your attention to what is already within you, okay? And sometimes a really useful starting point is your breath. Using your breath, it's a very simple first step. So your breath can be your greatest ally because it helps you to basically enable your nervous system to focus on something that helps it feel safe. That is it in its most simple form. Okay, so it triggers what we call the rest and digest state, or rather it's the parasympathetic state. And this is the complete opposite of fight or flight. And by taking a very intentional, long, slow, deep breath and just repeating that for as long as you start to, feel the benefit from it, making your exhale much slower and longer than your inhale, you're basically sending a powerful message to the part of the brain that's responsible for survival. It's called the amygdala. It's basically like your internal security guard. You're sending a message that there is no danger. Because when you think about it logically, physiologically, taking long, slow, deep breaths and making the exhale longer than the inhale from an evolutionary point of view, if you really were in danger, your breathing would not be like that. It would be shallow and rapid, as it helps to prepare you to escape from danger. So using your breath, even though you may be rolling your eyes and, oh, I've heard this all before, it really is the most immediate, powerful way that you can fool your nervous system, your amygdala, into believing there really is no danger, because at its most base level, misophonia is a survival response that has nothing to do with the sound. Okay, so I really hope that that does make sense to you. And of course, it may take practice. It takes a little commitment, and it isn't going to work for everybody. I'm going to be honest, but when you consider your breath as being your most powerful tool, it can give you something different to focus on. And the beauty of this is you can control it. The breath is something you can control. You can choose, if you are in a situation that you cannot do anything about at all, you cannot flee, you cannot fight, you can just bring your attention to your body and your breath. And by breathing deeply, maybe just for a count of 3, and then holding the breath for a count of 3, and exhaling very slowly for a count of 6, what you're doing is you are focusing on something that you do have control over. And these deep, powerful breaths really do physiologically affect how your nervous system functions and responds. And it also ties in with being a little more accepting that there is nothing you can do in this moment. And by noticing something that is very much within you, within your control, you are directing your attention back to that repeatedly. So when your body mimics the state of rest and digest, it can start to feel very real in your mind. And just keep on practicing. And I really hope that that has been helpful. There are gazillions of breathwork exercises on YouTube, and I hope that you can find something that you can take away and start practicing with immediate effect when you are being subjected to noise that you cannot do anything about. And I'll be back with more content another day, but before you go, I just want to ask you to consider subscribing or following me. I'm starting to get quite close now to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. And if you're watching this and you're not a subscriber, please just click the subscribe button, because I do produce content pretty much every week, usually 2 or 3 times a week, and there'll be a lot more coming. Bye for now.